So again, good evening, everyone, and thanks for joining us in person and those who have joined us online. Actually, I'm very excited to be here. This is the first user group presentation that I'm doing, and also after COVID, like there was nowhere, it was not possible as to go and do a physical event. So this is a physical event after COVID, the first physical event that, and also a virtual presentation that I'm doing after 3 years. And thanks, Prasad, for organizing this event. But let's not waste too much of time. We'll dive into uh, the cloud products, what SolidWorks 3DEXPERIENCE is going to offer us. So just again, Prasad already stressed upon, gave an introduction about me. So I'm Shravan Jodalli. So I have a total 8 years of experience in CAD, CAE, and CFD. And I have been associated with Dassault close to 4 years now. And so we are part of a product defined team inside Dassault. So what we do is we do customer research. We are basically advocates for the SolidWorks customer inside SolidWorks R&D. So I work for the SolidWorks R&D. So we are basically advocates for our customers. And what we do is we do customer interviews in terms of gathering feedback and where the industry is heading, where, particular, I mean, you work, so as you mentioned, you work in the battery swapping. So where exactly the industry is happening, heading towards. We do all the market research as well, and we gather all these feedback. And we also involve in the planning of these projects. So every functional delivery, there's a new functionality that comes in. So we involve in the all the behind scenes. Basically, we do the planning with all the stakeholders. It may be dev, QA, UX. We meet with them, plan accordingly, which function delivery, what functionalities based on the customer requirement, what has to be delivered. So we do all of this, and what's new, demos that you see. Behind there is a whole team that is, dev, PD. We define how exactly the function should work. What are the steps? So we define each and every step, and then it gets, delivered to the customer. So that is what we do. And also, if those who have joined online or physical amenities, I mean, you can share your feedback with us when you start using, or you've been already accustomed, you've been using. So you can share feedback with us. So we also do alpha tests and beta tests with our users. Once we have a prototype kind of a thing, we gather feedback about the software as well. So this is overall what we do. Right. So for the next 45 to 50 minutes, so this is how the agenda will be. So we'll look at what all SolidWorks licensing are. I'll not go in depth of it, and what is the SolidWorks cloud offering. So in today's presentation, the main agenda is to look at the SolidWorks cloud offering, what all we have, and how we can make use of the software, and why SolidWorks Cloud. And we'll dive into a live demo. We'll look at how exactly the cloud applications and how we can use it. And lastly, if you have any question and answers, so we can have it. So this is the SolidWorks portfolio. There is a desktop version of it where it gets installed on your system, and all the data is managed locally in a folder. To talk in a very layman word. And start with the SolidWorks standard. That is a starting bundle of product, and then professional and premium. And then we have the extended 3DEXPERIENCE works, which is basically all the installation and all the updates happen from the browser. I mean, so you launch SolidWorks. I mean, the app name is SolidWorks Connected. So when you launch the SolidWorks Connected, so you click on an icon. So I'll show that. You click on an icon, and the installation gets done, and there's no intervene of you. You just have to click on next. So the installation and updates, everything is taken care. And the important part is all your data is managed inside cloud, right? And there is a local installation will also be done with this cloud extended version of it. Again, it has the starting with standard, professional, and premium. And we have the cloud native. So this is completely a browser based applications that we are developing. It's entirely on cloud. You don't need to install anything. You have to just open the browser and drag and drop the applications where you want to, based on your need, what you want to design. So you can just launch the app and start working on it. So in today's presentation, so we'll be mainly concentrating on the SolidWorks cloud offering. So right from parametric designing, so if you are a mechanical engineer or you may be an electrical engineer, so you want to create any parametric modeling, so we have a 3D creator role. So we call it as roles. So inside role there are applications. So we have XDesign, which enables to create your parametric modeling, where part modeling and assembly modeling, surface modeling, all that is taken care. And we have an application called as xShape, which is basically a 3D sculptor role, inside which you can create a free-form design. So, more of an organic kind of a modeling, where you just use the push-pull mechanism to create your models. And we have the 3D structure creator. This is my area of work where I work a lot on this 3D structure creator role. So there is an application called as xFrame, which takes care of all your structural modeling capabilities, where you can all your beam requirements, and it may be some kind of furniture also. You can create all those designs in the xFrame. And xSheet metal is exclusively for xSheet metal users, where creating H-plans. So we'll look at all those demos. And we have, so once your mechanical CAD everything is done, so ultimately you have to create a drawings. So there is a model-based definition where you directly create your dimensions and all of that in the 3D modeling environment itself. And then you can create a 2D drawings out of it. And once your design is done, so if you want to go out to the market, so again, we have the cloud solution, which is XStudio, we call it. So it's an application inside a 3D render. You can render your images and you can take out to the marketing. And we have collaborative industry innovator. Basically, it is an Innovia application where Innovia role, basically, where you can manage all your PLM life cycle of your data, whatever you create. And collaboration is where you can basically communicate with the broader team, where you can post your idea, and again, that idea life cycle. So all that can be managed. So this is all what we are offering inside the SolidWorks Cloud. And why SolidWorks Cloud? So the one thing is you don't have to do any installation or anything. So there is no IT headweight kind of a thing. So it's all that you have to do is you need to have a good internet and launch the browser and start using. Once you have access to these roles, you can start using. So and very streamlined access. There are admin. Admin is given a role where he can give the access to, based on, if in an industry you are a sheet metal designer, so you need a sheet metal, and you are a parametric, and you are electric. So admin can easily give those roles to each individual employee in our organization. So it can be managed very easily, and a very easy onboarding process. So each app comes with a welcome app. Basically, it has all the videos and how to get started. All of the onboarding process is very easy, and it is a single source of truth. All this connected, whatever data that we create is all in the cloud, and anybody can use it. So these data can also be used. If you want to do a analysis, so even Simulia app can use this data. So it's a single source of truth. You don't have to export, step file, and then you have to import. So you don't have to do all of that. And it is any device, anytime, anyway. So there's no requirement of, you don't have to be, sophisticated workstation, 32 GB, 16 GB with a higher graphic card. You don't really need it. So you just need it. You can use it on phone, you can use it on iPad, and you can also use it on your laptops anywhere. And we, so with this power of cloud computing, so we are also trying to add more of machine learning, like where all there is a repetitive work that user is doing. So we do machine learning and give a proper suggestions. I mean, in terms of in the design process. We'll see more of it in the demos that come. So it's a connected information and collaboration. Basically, you can use it on your office desktop, your laptop, your phone, iPad. You're traveling, so you just quickly want to give some approval. In a life cycle stage, you want to somebody has sent you to review a design, so you can quickly go through it and review the design. All right. So let's jump into the demo. So we look at the different applications that SolidWorks Cloud is offering. We have first we'll look at the SolidWorks part modeling and assembly modeling, and then we will look at the structure modeling, sheet metal and drawings. So this is the C-scooter model basically, where I want to create a battery enclosure. So let's start with the part modeling and the assembly modeling. All right, so this is the user interface. So this is as you can see that, let me exit the full screen. So this is a Chrome browser, or you can use any other browser as well. So where I have launched XDesigner. So this is a user interface. So this is what we call it as a compass, where what all roles that you have access to. So all these, I mean, 3D creator, where if you want to create a XDesign parametric modeling, and if you want to create a X shape. So all these apps are you have access over here. You can also do a 3D search, and there is something called as dashboards. Basically, you can create your own dashboard. Like so, I'm working on XDesign. Now I can add a XDesign, drag and drop the application inside the XDesign tab, and I can have, I mean, based on my requirement, I can add different requirements. And I spoke about the collaborating. So basically, now I want to in a design process, basically I want to post an idea. Now I have just created, for example, I created a community like SWUG Bengaluru event. Now so here we are, what I'm trying to showcase, I'm trying to show a battery design for this C-scooter. So this is my idea, and this can be viewed by the entire people in the organization. So I mean, if somebody likes it, so they can change the state, to a concept, and then once the design starts happening, so you can communicate that in a much better way. And also these are as well customizable. I mean, you can use all these applications inside phone as well. And so whatever the recent, whatever that is required, so I can basically add those widgets, drag and drop the widgets from here. Drag and drop, not this, drag and drop these widgets and customize my, and it's just showing. So I can also install on my app. I mean, you can open in the browser as well. So I can also, I mean, if I want to change the state, now it is in the concept state. So if your manager, I mean, he doesn't have to have laptop all the time. I mean, he can just click on this and add some comments and make a change. I mean, it's that simple. Even the CAD modeling is all done on the phone. Right. So there is all this data gets saved in the collaborative space, 3D space, where all your data is saved and the data is also managed. And also your manager or whoever is managing, so they can also set in the task. Again, these all are managing the applications where you can collaborate with your team. So I want to create an enclosure design. So what is, I mean, is it in the to-do state and in work? So they can assign you, all of this is done. Once it is completed, so they can change the state of it. Now let's go into the demo part of it. Right. So this is the user interface for the designing, right? So here is my design manager tree, and here are my options. So let's start, creating the sketch for creating the battery enclosure. And when I start the sketch, so it automatically activates the dimension. So I don't have to go out of the sketch in order to create the dimensions. It is that simple. And also editing any of the sketch entities is very simple. So if I want to convert this line into an arc, so I can just do it by the context menu. I don't have to really go inside the action bar. I can just collapse the action bar. All right, let me do it on the other two sides as well. Now I have this mouse gesture where basically the commonly used commands. I need a 250 radius. Commonly used commands can be, based on the data, again, we have added all those commonly used commands. Now, again, when I select these two arcs, basically, so what all relations that are possible with them? Right, so it will again suggest me in the context menu. So it is very simple and easy to use. I don't have to go out of this designing environment, right? So let me again a shortcut S key, basically have the shortcut keys where I want to create a extrude. Now I'll add the dimension. That is something which I missed. Again, I use the mouse gesture. Let me add the fillet. So again, I have the lasso selection. So I just drag it all around. So I can create a fillet. Now, let me create a shell, and I want the overall boundary of 3 mm thickness. And in many designs, like there are standard libraries, right? So if I'm taking a manifold as a design as an example, there may be a standard sketch user might have saved in some particular file, and they want to reuse those sketches in their future design. So we have a option called as insert sketch, which basically allows me to search from my database. And we have a 6W tagger as well. So it allows me to filter out and search the data quickly. So we import the sketch and we can select which sketch do we want. So we attach it to the mouse cursor, right? So and it can easily snap it on any of the model vertex or any of the origin. So I want to insert one more sketch over here. Right, insert and continue. I can stay on the same dialog. I can in one go I can add more sketches to it. Now I'll click on OK, and also all the dimensions will also come in. So you can see that there are dimensions that has come in. Now if this is a silhouette edge, so I can still go ahead and give a collinear relation. I'll come out of the sketch now. Now we have in XFrame we call this as a super feature. In this feature you can do a extrude, you can do a cutout, and you don't have to come out of this feature. So there is a revolve. Basically, I don't have to cancel out and go to a different features. If I want to do a revolve, I just select this axis and select the sketch to add a revolve feature. And let me show this sketch here. Right, so again, I want to create a sweep. Now I need a path. So I want to sweep around the model to basically add a fixture. Now, when I select that edge, so automatically it pops up like, do you want to select the tangential selections, which is around the model, right? So I select that. So all the way around. So we were able to easily create the sweep. Now, so this is a battery enclosure. So in the end, so I want to mount a PCB. So I need to create some uh, plugs basically to add the fasteners and the PCB. Now, what I'll do is I want to show you this. So now suppose you have started an extrude command, all right, but there is no sketch for you to select. So we have something called as command parking. So these three dots here inside this, so we have a sketch command where you don't have to again exit and start the sketch and then come back to extrude. So you don't have to do that. So what we have done is, so we have smartly added a sketch command because extrude needs a sketch to be added. We have added that in the command parking. So I'll add and I want to create one more circle here. You can see that there's a pink dotted line, and it basically reuses the dimension, the circle which you used from the previous one. So you don't have to, again, if you're creating repetitive designs with the same dimensions, you don't have to dimension it again and again. So it uses the previous value. Let me do the same thing, 2.5 here, right? And this we call it as a mode bar. Basically, if I want to have the construction line, so again, I use the mouse gesture, right? So the reason why I added this horizontal line, I'll just tell you in a while. So so I want these plug holes on the other side as well. Now, this is where we make use of the machine learning and the artificial intelligence. So we have something called as the design assistance for the sketch. When I click on that, so it will give me the suggestion. So the reason why I added this horizontal line was, so it will also give me the suggestion on the other side. So do you want to go ahead and add these sketch on the other side as well? Now, so it becomes very faster, I mean, in terms of when you're in a design. When I accept the sketch, now you can notice that what happens is we started with the extrude command, right? So once I exit the sketch, automatically it starts with, so I started with the command parking sketch. So it opens and makes a selection as well for me. I don't have to again launch it and do the selection. And I can quickly, I'll do auto merge. I can quickly go and add 1 degree of draft, right? Again, when I select in the context menu, so it will give me what all possible options that you can apply. So I want to add a fillet. I select this edge as well. So again, repetitive selection. So it pop-ups like design assistant for selection. So again, it helps me throughout my design process as and when I start modeling, it helps me for wherever there is a repetitive design process, we try to minimize as much as possible. So all these selections, so manually doing it is basically a layman, job, like to go and select pick up each edge by edge. So all this is taken care by the powerful design assistants what we have. All right. So and also if I want to add extrude, you don't really need a sketch. You can just select multiple faces and start, basically add an extrude. I'll add again the same thing. Now, I have a more completed version of the X. I've basically added more tabs so that this demo goes much more you can use it even in your work as well. Let me quickly restore. There's a timeout. That is the reason it has. All right, so we can, as this is available, so we can jump into the next step. So so this is the battery design which we did, and there's a motor that has been added to the design. Now there are cases where you cannot do a pattern. Basically, the components you cannot pattern. All right, so this I want to add it here. So instead of I going and manually adding all the assembly mates, so now we are looking at some of the assembly capabilities that we have. So when I select a component, we have something called as copy with mates. So this basically helps me to copy this component and add a similar mates in a different location where I cannot pattern it because it is at a different. So I can reuse. So it is telling me, do you want to add a? There's a distance mate added for this component. I just want to reuse the same existing reference from the older model. And here I want to add, select this as a concentric relation. So you can repeat this process for adding for other components. So, so again, so you can easily copy the mates from a different model and add it here. Right. So now we have this component where I want to. So there is an electronics engineer who has done the PCB design. So now I want to integrate with the MCAD. Now, how will I do it? So we have a capability where you can import the IDF 3.0 files. And these all files are supported. I mean, you can import the step CAD-CAE file, SolidWorks, ASYS, IGS, mesh files, repeat solid and step. So now I want to import a IDF file, so which is a EMN, BRD, all of that. You can also import the file. I mean, if you received from the vendor, you can import from the file on disk, or also if it is saved on the 3D drive, you can choose from there as well. So I'll pick up the PCB6 EMN file. So automatically it will, if it is the file is in the 3D drive, it will also pick up the EMP along with it, which is basically having the information about the height and the outline of the component and where exactly it has to be saved. So there is a common space where all your data is managed. You can select which common space you want to save this, and whether you want to import this file and open, or I'm working on some active assembly. Now I want that PCB file to be inserted in this particular file. So how many instances that you want to import? So I can just check this box, insert into the current component. So what that will do is, so it will import and insert in the existing model. So you can see that the PCB file has been imported in this active model itself. So I'll just use the robot to pull this out. So again, you can go easily add the assembly relations, control select. So again, it will suggest me what all relations. Possibly you can give it to 2 circles basically. Now I'm not happy with the orientation of it. So I can click here. I don't have to go into the edit, so I can flip the mates that I have given. Okay. Now I want to apply the same, again, the concentric relation between this and this. And I want to mount this PCB, this face, a coincident relation. So again, in assembly mates, so we have gear mates, and there are advanced mates as well available, rack and pinion and cable joint. So all these mates are also available. So even the assembly modeling and the part modeling are pretty much taken care. So I think I forgot in the initial I mentioned about the welcome application. So there's a welcome application where you can start launching your X design from here, where basically it helps you to onboard yourself quickly without any help. So there are learning center, there are videos available, and there are models available. You can directly drag and drop these models inside your designing environment and start using it. All right. So from the battery casing, basically we have assembled. Let me try and change the transparency here. So we have added that battery casing inside. Yeah, I mean, this inside here we have added that casing, whatever we have modeled now. Now there is a camera mount on the top of the model. Now I want to let me quickly open this. So I want to do a 3D print of this. Right. So now I want to do a 3D print of it. Now you can see this physical threads as well. I'll show this very quickly. All right, so we have a feature where it has all these ASME, DIN, and ISO inbuilt standards, where all that you have to do is you have to select the start and which is the end phase, and based on the standards, which size that you want to select. So automatically these physical threads will be created. You don't have to manually do it. Basically, create the sweep cut and all of the hassle. You need not have to take. So if I want to do a 3D print, so in the tools, we have an option called as print 3D. You can connect this to your local 3D printer, and all that you have to do is I can select the base, and I can quickly auto arrange. I mean, it's an assembly, so I can auto arrange. You can select a component. If you're not happy with the orientation, you can see the orientation. And there are analysis tools that are available where all you need support. It gives me all this information. Then you can export to when you click on export to a print format. So it will basically export. Yeah, all right. So now we saw how easily, I mean, we can make use of all these powerful AI and machine learning features and basically make the faster designs. And also it is very powerful. It's all in the cloud, and all the data is taken care in the cloud. It's intuitive, and the user interface is also very powerful. And there's a built-in data management as well. uh, Basically there's a life cycle here where you can change your maturity state. Let me quickly show one of it, and you can also change the revision. You can once the design is released, I mean, you want to make a small changes to it. So when you're working on it, so you can make it as a private. You can change the states. This is all PLM. I mean, if it is in frozen and you send to for some approval and released is it's manufacturing ready. And if it is obsolete, like all these different states, maturity states, and there's a revision, new revision you can create. All of this life cycle can be monitored and controlled. Yeah. So next, we'll jump into the structure modeling. So we'll quickly again we'll do a live demo of the structure modeling, and then for subdivision, and also have pre-recorded the video. So let's look at it. All right. So let me restore this as well. Okay, so the button which I hit restore is basically, after some time, if the timeout is happened, so your data is not lost. Basically, when I click on the restore, it will basically do an auto save of the data, and it will fetch that the latest information what you've done. So now in this case, right. So in this case, there's a sorting machine here. So where I want to create, I want to design this machine frame basically. Right. So you can see that there are some predefined planes here. I mean, traditionally, how we create these structure members is you create a sketch and then start selecting the sketch entities to create the members. So what I'll do is I'll show uh, a different way of, there are different powerful ways of creating the structure members. So if you know the design intent and what is that has to be created, so these tools are very powerful, and can be used extensively. So all that I need is planes. So I just need to define which is the start and which is the end plane, all right? And which are the axis, what is the axis where it has to create the member, and a location of the member where it has to be created. So, I mean, in case of structure building and all, it's very powerful. So all that you need to have is planes, and then start picking up these planes, and your model is created. And we have, okay, let me quickly edit. So this is a flat component where there are some standard profiles that are available, so you can quickly go and search. So I wanted to use a different profile in this design. All right, so everything got updated. Click on OK. All right, now I want to create the, again, I'll show a different way of creating the members. So I have a continuous selection. Basically, it helps me to pick up these members in a continuous order. So you can see that, I mean, if I wanted these members at some distance, this is basically a between member. So I can assign the values. Now, in this case, I just want to have these members flipped on the top. I'll start picking up other members so that the continuous selection. So I just want to complete this loop here. I've completed the loop. And on the bottom, you can see that there's a checkbox, which is a default turned on, automatic corner trims. So what this will do is when I give OK, is everything okay? I mean, if somebody has pinged in the chat or anything. No. All right. All right. So you can see that automatically the corner trims are taken care. So automatically it will apply all the corner trims that is required. Again, you know, for between members, when I launch it, let me turn off. So there is an intersection plane. I mean, if I can also select a plane where it has to create the member. Let me change it to now. I mean, these profiles, I mean, based on your requirement or your standards, you can also create your own profile libraries as well. So there is a structure section manager where basically you can create your own, standard. You can select the profiles and which profile that you want to create. You can add a material to it so that when you create the members, automatically the material comes in. So you can add, I mean, if I want to create a square section, or I can add these edge or thickness and breadth values. You can add as more and more sizes in one go. So this manages, and also if you want to edit any structure section manager, I mean, profiles in the future, you can also do it. There's a custom sections also. You can create your own sketch profiles like these aluminum extrusions and everything. So those are not available with the default library what we have. I mean, we have the ISO, ANSI, all those libraries available. So anything outside that, if you want to create, so you can create a sketch and do it. And we can also, and as I was saying, I can select a sketch and start the part segment member. So again, we have the machine learning capabilities here as well. When you select one of the sketch entities, so it will basically give you the suggestion. So again, I can make use of the automatic corner trimming. And we have plates, cassettes, and end caps basically. I mean, if there is a supporting plate that I need to add to a frame for, to have support, all that I have to do is I'll select the member, right? And what is the dimension? So again, I have the that I need 148 by 78, the plate. Now I want to create one more plate on this member just for the example's sake. It remembers the whatever the older values that you have added, so it remembers all those values. And for adding the material, basically it's the strength to the frame, so I can also add gussets. I can select these two faces. I mean, whether you want to add this gusset at the center or at the end location, so you can toggle between these locations, add a thickness. You can also change the D1, D2 values here. You can apply and continue if you want to add more gussets. And similarly, end caps can also be done. And once your frame is ready, all right, so you need a manufacturing details of it. So we can quickly generate the cut list table where you have how many quantities of this particular member and what is the length of each member is. So we will get the quantities, and also if there is a material applied, so it will list the material as well. Each and every details is captured, and you can also export this table to a CSV file format as well. Right. So again, it's a tailor-made software. I mean, application for who are into structure modeling. So again, this is I mean, in one of the events. So I created this model. So all this is created. I mean, it's very powerful. All that can be created in the browser itself. So it automatically generates your manufacturing cut list, automatically creates your corner trims, and we have machine learning capabilities, easily create gussets and caps to add the strength to the structure. Now, let's look at some of the subdivision modeling capabilities as well. There is a 3D sculptor app in which there is a X-shape application, which is basically a polygonal mesh. On the polygonal mesh, we create a high-end surface on it to get the subdivision modeling. So again, so let's create a enclosure for these electronic components here. So how we can do it? So I can, there are standard shapes readily available, so I can just drag and drop them. And if I know the outer bounding box area of the model, so I can quickly go and add those values. I can basically scale it according to the bounding box, where I can add what in X direction, what is the dimension, so that it covers all the components inside. It's a very easy push pull. You can select any vertex and start doing a push pull to add make the changes in the geometry. So this is basically doing a crease where you want to have a flatten, where you want to keep it on a floor, where you want to have the flatten kind of a faces, where you can quickly crease those faces, and also again push pull to adjust the size. And anyway, any face that you can select and do a extrude of those faces. This is very much organic kind of a modeling, where you don't have to really have the expertise of the surface modeling. So it's largely push and pull, and how creative you are. So again, I can connect these two extrudes, and again I can increase or decrease the dimension, so I can revolve, I can translate. Now once this is done, so I can easily subdivide all those faces. Again, I'll use the push and pull so that it doesn't interfere with the internal components. Yeah, so once that is done, so we can knit all the, it's a polygonal mesh basically, so we can knit all the mesh elements. Yeah, I mean, in the previous thing you saw the polygon mesh kind of thing, so you can easily create a surface. So 3D sculptor or the X shape, this capability is not there in the SolidWorks desktop version of it. So users can make use of the X shape and also the subdivision modeling, and they can also this is very seamlessly you can integrate. I mean, you can open these files inside the SolidWorks desktop. You don't have to export it basically and import back inside SolidWorks in a graphical way. So there is a data transition which happens very seamlessly, and it also enables for so it also enables in an organization where there is an industrial designer and a mechanical engineer, where they can collaborate very easily because it is a single source of truth, and you can switch between the applications. So I am modeling something here. Now I want to go and add something inside X design. So what all rules that you have for something from X shape. So I can quickly switch between the applications. Minimize this. So I can switch between the applications where the data is automatically transitioned. So I don't have to deal with import and export. So we can again create all the complex surface models and solid quickly with a very intuitive push-pull mechanism. Yeah, right. And let's look at the X sheet metal quickly. Again, we are dealing with a lot of enclosure designing today. So again, the same thing. I want to create an enclosure for this PCB. Again, sheet metal is largely used in this area. All right. So in context of the assembly, you can start building your design. So you can see on the left hand side. So this is the design tree basically in an assembly environment. So I can start the sketch, and I can also, there is equations which you can make use of it. Based on the thickness and the bend radius, you want to have specific offset that has to be maintained from the next PCB over here. So that can be So that can be added as an equation. So any change in update in the design, so that will be taken care. So now we can quickly add the material. So I can quickly extrude it. Right. So all the corners based on your initial details of the sheet metal, all the corners areas have been applied. Just selecting the edge, I can just pull it. So where you can start adding the edge flanges. So again, where exactly it has to be, there are different settings, like whether it has to be from the outer side and what is the angle of it. All of these details can be quickly added, and offset. So offset can be given. Now, visually, you can see that there is an interference that has happened over here. All right, so now I want to create a cutout. I can just create a sketch, select that sketch, create a cutout. Now, there are sharp edges here. So I want to create the corners. When I select the corner, again, the selections are made quick and easy with the machine learning. So it will suggest like the other three corners if you want to go ahead and select. Again, on screen, toggles, basically manipulators, where you can quickly modify the design. And if there is any repetitive work, I mean, in terms of mirror that you want to do, so you can quickly use the mirror or the linear pattern feature to add these functionalities. All right, so I can also add a mate in context. Yeah, so once the sheet metal is done, so I can activate this. So all that I need is, once the sheet metal design is done, so I need to flatten it. So to see what is the bonding box, for the machining to be done. And also if you want to send this flattened details for the manufacturing, so you can also export right away from there to a DXF output, so which is a machine readable output for any sheet metal designs. So we saw a lot of designs that has been done. So ultimately that has to be documented, basically created drawings to be able to manufacture. So you can create a 3D, in the 3D view itself, you can add all your dimensions. It is also called as model-based definition. where it is a paperless manufacturing, where you create all your drawings in the 3D design itself, and open on your beside the machine you have the tab where you can see all the dimensions and everything. They can rotate the model and see it. So all those capabilities. And also we have the 2D drawing layout also. Once you have added all the dimensions, you can just drag and drop inside your 2D drawing sheet here. And you can create your own template. All of that can be done. So I can again drop in multiple top views based on your view, and you can add a customizable notes as well for the manufacturing. And also, I mean, in terms of communication, so this drawing can be open in the 3D play, and if you have sent it for the review, so they can add something is there's a dimension for these parts are missing, so they can notify the user, and then they can go ahead and modify these things.